Hey guys, this is Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and my name is Steve, and this is James. Thank you for watching our Week 3 Must Starts and Sits. Now, before we begin this video, please make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and if you like this video, please put a like on there. Again, we are working towards 50 subscribers by the end of the week. So again, subscribe, like. We'd love to get to that 50 subscribers. Now also, if you like our video and you like the advice we've given you, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We will have our handles down below in the description. And let's get on to our Week 3 Must Starts and Sits.
All right, starts of the week, we're going to start with QBs. So we have Gardner Minshew versus Miami's second worst passing defense. Look for him to have a repeat of last week. He had 20 plus fantasy points. Then we have Ryan Tannehill versus Minnesota's sixth worst pass defense. He had 4 touchdowns last week and over 200 passing yards versus Jacksonville. Then we go on to Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is going against the Jets, 7th worst in the league for passing defense. Jets have been outscored 42-6 in the first halves of the season.
Or Jets.
It's exactly what Rivers needs to bounce back the first 2 starts he had. Then we're going to go with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is going against the Lions' 5th-ranked passing defense. Look for Murray to continue doing what he was doing. Had good rushing in the past 2 weeks, which he averaged about 70 rushing yards. So that's very, very, very good for fantasy. And of course, his passing yardage was very good, over 200 passing yards per game. All right, we're going to go with QB sits of the week. Drew Brees versus Green Bay's 19th ranked pass defense. He's only had 3 touchdowns this past 2 weeks, plus 1 interception. And he doesn't have Thomas, which is number 1 receiver. Look for him to have a bad week, just like he did last week. Over 300 yards and below 15 points in fantasy. So then we're going to go with Tom Brady playing Denver. 15th ranked pass defense. He hasn't been doing well. New team. The Denver's pass defense has only allowed 6 yards per pass, which is 7th fewest. And then it doesn't look good for Godwin. So let's sit Tom Brady for sure. Then we're going to go with Carson Wentz versus the Bengals' 28th ranked pass defense. Wentz had 4 interceptions in the past 2 weeks, and Bengals allowed an average of 213 pass yards, which is 7th fewest in the league. Way to go, Bengals. Didn't know that. Then we're going to go with Kirk Cousins versus Titans, 18th ranked pass defense. He's been really, really struggling. He's had 4 interceptions and has been sacked 5 times. That offensive line is doing very, very, very bad, and I don't see him bouncing back at all.
All right, guys, now it's my turn to go over the must-starts for wide receiver this week. So the first person I've got is T.Y. Hilton. Now, I know a lot of you owners out there were expecting a big season with Phillip Rivers at the helm compared to what was happening last season, and T.Y. Hilton, has been pretty healthy, but unfortunately, his first 2 weeks have not been great, but I think this week is the way to turn around. You're going against the Jets, let's be honest. Everybody has a great fantasy game against the Jets, which have allowed 2 TDs to receivers for each game for week 1 and 2. So I expect T.Y. Hilton to really stand out, and then of course the sad news of Paris Campbell being out for the season due to ACL. Again, another person I think would have done really well, but T.Y. Hilton is the guy this week. Next I have is CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb had a great game last week against the Atlanta Falcons, and I understand the Atlanta Falcons is not a great defensive team. Their secondary is just dismantled, and he had over 100 yards. Now, the reason why I expect CeeDee Lamb over, say, Michael Gallup. Now, Michael Gallup is still the second wide receiver, which means he still gets the second cornerback on the team. CeeDee's been playing the slot heavily, which gives him the ability to really kind of get the lower tiered cornerback or even possibly linebacker or safety on him. So he also had the second highest targets last week with 9, tying with Amari Cooper. So I expect CeeDee Lamb against the Seattle Seahawks, who have the worst passing defense right now, to have a great game. Then I've got Darius Slade. Now Darius Slade is someone not many people know about, probably not even on your team. Maybe a great waiver wire pick this week. Reason why we have Slayton is because Sterling Shepard dealing with a toe injury. The Giants, unfortunately, are always running behind in their games, so they're going to do a lot of passing. And Daniel Jones actually likes Darius Slade a lot. So, and then of course the sad news of the 49ers defense. You've got Richard Sherman gone, you've got Bosa gone, you've got Solomon Thomas gone. That defense is really taking a hit. So I expect Darius Slade to have a really great week.
And then you can't forget about Barkley gone, so they're definitely going to be passing the ball a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole offense is going to be completely different than what most people are used to, where it was Barkley first and then receivers second. So the last must start for the week is DK Metcalf. Now, of course, DK Metcalf is a starter I think you should have every week, but the matchup is perfect this week. Dallas defense is not great against the pass. They're 25th against the pass this week. And DK Metcalf is like the Calvin Ridley. He's the second receiver. Calvin Ridley blew up against Dallas like we predicted last week. So I expect DK Metcalf to have another solid week and really stand out over Tyler Lockett this week. So now we're going to go over our sits. So the first sit wide receiver we've got this week is Jameson Crowder. Now Crowder was out last week due to a hamstring injury. Sometimes those linger, so he is expected to play this week against Indianapolis, but Indianapolis defense has actually done a really great job. They put up only 113 yards passing allowed on them, and that was against the Vikings. And I understand Kirk Cousins and that team has been struggling, but 113 passing yards is amazing. Next, I have Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen had a lot of targets last week. He had 8 targets, but only 3 catches. There's something going on between Kirk Cousins and the passing team that they're struggling to find each other. They're not on the same page. Kirk Cousins looks scared. He's running around. He's getting hit. Adam Thielen is a great receiver, but I just don't trust Kirk Cousins enough to really kind of feel confident in Adam Thielen. Now, of course, if he's one of the few receivers you've got, have any solid backups, of course you've got to start him. But if you have some good depth, I would possibly sit Adam Thielen this week. Then we've got Robert Woods. So Robert Woods against the Buffalo Bills. Now, the reason why I have Robert Woods sitting, he didn't have a great game last week. We predicted Cooper Kupp to have the better game, which he did. On top of that, he's facing Tre'Davious White, and he's one of the best cornerbacks in this league, if not top 2 for sure. And he is absolutely going to shut down Robert Woods this week. And I know Buffalo Bills did not have a great showing last week against the Dolphins, but that was an odd game with the lightning delay and everything like that. The team just kind of had some weird ups and downs, but I expect the Buffalo Bills defense to kind of get back on track against the Rams. And on top of that, Robert Woods to not have a great game. And the last one I've got is Marvin Jones Jr. Now, Marvin Jones Jr. kind of getting back to that wide receiver 2 on the Detroit Lions with Galladay expected to be back this week after missing the first 2 weeks. So Marvin Jones Jr. is not somebody I would like to start. Even the first 2 weeks I was kind of hesitant. I know he was the starter and he had some decent games, but this week I would absolutely sit him. Just don't trust it. Keep Galladay in there if you have to. Now we're going to go to running backs with James.
All right, running back starts. We're going to start with James Robinson. He's secured this leading spot with Jacksonville. Last week he had over 100 rushing yards. Look for him to do the same against Miami, who allowed an average of 150 yards per game. So definitely James Robinson. We're going to go to Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders looked great coming back from his injury. Wentz has been struggling very badly. So look for Sanders to run the ball more than he even did last week. Then we got Jarrett Mckennan. He looked great last week. Look for him. I believe they're going to have him starting this week.
Yeah, I think with Mostert being possibly out, and obviously Tevin Coleman has been announced to be out, he is the guy this week.
Yeah. And then Garoppolo's out, so look for them to run the ball a lot more. Yep. Then we go with Mike Davis. With CMC gone for at least 3-4 weeks, look for Mike Davis to do. He did actually very well last week, especially in PPR leagues for catching the ball. He had, I think, 6 catches or something.
Yeah,
like
8
that.
targets, 6 catches. Yeah, he had a great game for sure.
So that's a good pickup. If you looked at our waiver wire on Tuesday that we uploaded, he was one of them, top waiver wire. So make sure you look at our video that we did on Tuesday if you're watching this video. All right, then running back sits of the week. We're going to go with Frank Gore versus Indy. He hasn't been doing very well in his starts. And then they're going against Indy, which is top 5 in rushing defense. Try to look for a replacement on the waiver wire. If you haven't seen our video on Tuesday, look for that. Then Rojo versus Denver. Don't like the matchup, and also Fournette's been taken over. Fournette had 16 touches versus Rojo's 9 touches. So leave him on your bench, even cut him if you dare do that. Then we got Todd Gurley versus Chicago. I know some people might be scratching their head on this one, but Chicago's 19th rate versus the defense. But Atlanta's been passing the ball like crazy. I know Todd Gurley is a name that you want to keep as a starter, but he's only averaged, I think, below 3 yards per carry. So I'd definitely bench him. Even if I had him on my team, I'd bench him.
I got Gurley. He's done. He's done.
And then DeAndre Swift versus Arizona. Johnson and Peterson have been taking over the goal line rushes. PPR, he looks decent, but it's just too risky to start for me. I wouldn't start him in my league. Now we're going to go with Steve with tight ends.
All right, guys, so our starting tight ends this week, the first one I'm going to announce is Jonnu Smith. If you don't have him already and he's still available in the league, what are you doing? I don't understand. Like, this kid is just amazing. He's got a great rapport with Tannehill. He was wide open every play against Jacksonville last week. He had 3 touchdowns. I expect that same energy and that same type of gameplay, maybe not quite 3 touchdowns, but at least 1 or 2. Against Minnesota, they have not done a great job against the tight end. I, again, expect Jonnu Smith. Grab him if you can, trade for him. He is a star in the coming. So, next I have Hunter Henry. Again, that solid tight end. Herbert came in unexpected. Everybody was not sure what happened with Tyrod Taylor, and a lot more news is starting to come out. He was really thrown in the last possible second. Herbert actually really jump-started that offense. If anybody watched that game, they actually put Kansas City in a really tight bind and almost possibly stole that game from the Super Bowl champs. So Herbert really gave that whole offense an extra spark, including Keenan Allen, Eckler. But look for Hunter Henry, whether it be Tyrod or Herbert, to still have a solid game. He is their go-to guy, especially red zone and, of course, middle of the field. The last I'm going to give you is Mike Goseki. So he's available in a lot of leagues. Not a big no-name, especially when you're playing for the Dolphins. Let's be honest, there's not many fantasy players in the Dolphins team you're really looking at. But their tight end is amazing. And they're playing against Jacksonville. Jacksonville gave up 3 touchdowns and big plays to Jonnu Smith. I expect for Thursday night game, Goseki's going to have an amazing game. So again, if he's out there, pick him up. If not, look for him as a good possible trade. Or if you have him, of course, start him. He is somebody I would absolutely put on my team. Now we're going to go over the 6 for the week. The first thing I have is Evan Engram. Now, the reason why I have Evan Engram, yes, Shepard is out with his toe. Yes, their weapons are really hurting. But you know, I don't expect Engram to really kind of stand out. He's been hit or miss. He's very hot and cold. He has the talent to be one of the best tight ends in the league. Unfortunately, that rapport with him and Daniel Jones and really that offense in general just don't really put a focus on the tight end position. They really put it on Saquon, who's now gone, so who knows what this offense might look like. But I just don't trust Evan Engram yet until I see a little bit more in the upcoming season. The next one I have is Austin Hooper. Now, Austin Hooper is really starting to show that maybe it was the Falcons' offense, not necessarily Austin Hooper's talents, as a great tight end. You saw it last week with Hayden Hurst looking amazing against the Cowboys, and of course, it was against the Cowboys. They did not great against tight end, but Matt Ryan had a great rapport with him. Matt Ryan had a great rapport with Austin Hooper. But right now, that Cleveland offense is not something I would trust completely with the tight end position. And again, I just don't trust Austin Hooper this week. I would absolutely bench him against the Washington football team. And then last tight end for the sit is Chris Herndon. I know they're expecting a lot out of him. They say this every single year. He's got so much potential and talent. But that offense, let's be honest, the Jets. I think right now, high school football teams are very competitive against them. I've heard they lost to the state championship or something. The Jets are just not somebody I would trust. Nobody on that offense is anybody you want to deal with in fantasy right now. Chris Herndon absolutely needs to be sit, maybe dropped at this point. So again, thank you guys for watching our video for our week 3 starts and sits. I hope you really learned something from this. Hope this helps you really get off your season, get week 3 started off to a right foot. If you haven't caught our waiver wire pick video that we posted on Tuesday, again, check that out, please. That will help you hopefully pick up some players that you might need to, especially with all these injuries that occurred in week 2. So again, check out that week 3 waiver wire pick. We'll post that. Make sure that you can see that in case you need to catch up on it. If you like this video and you like the content and everything on here, please again subscribe. Really help us out get to that 50 subscribers by the end of the week. And like the video. If you have any questions with any lineups, trade questions, who to pick, who to drop, again, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. We'll have the handles in our description. Reach out to us, message us, comment, and have a great night.
Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.